Well, Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome back. We've got a lot to talk about. Well, first off, the new bill was passed, and so this is just an extension of the 2018 resolution, and some might say it's too little too late, as a lot of farmers are going to be heavily impacted by this decision to just put a band aid on what is really a severed artery. And so a lot of farmers um, around, especially the smaller ones, have been impacted by tremendous prices, harsh weather, and so on, as we've covered earlier. Um, so, what is this gonna do for farmers? Well, for us, it's going to really cover up some of the losses that we received over the past 3 or 4 years, but it will not really cover the entirety of what has happened these past few years. We've been devastated by terrible drought, heat, and then some rains and some terrible timing and massive hailstorms. And so, is the aid bill going to be enough? It'll be enough to get us through this next year, no doubt. And I think long term we will be fine. We're just going to have to stick through it and just tighten the belt up a lot. And even John Deere had mentioned before that farmers should tighten their belts, in which they are being heavily impacted by the decisions that have been made by Congress and by very very tough times for their customers. And so they too were also saying that farmers need to tighten their belt. And over here, we've had quite a few auctions from John Deere House in which they were selling tractors and combines and things like that at extremely low price. So they are feeling the impact heavily too as well. And it's going to be a very trying time in the agriculture industry. It's nothing that hasn't been seen before, and it's something that you don't want to go through. And so I really think that the funds that are going to be allotted will help quite a few farmers get through, but I think we are going to see a massive amount of farmers get out of the business. And uh, one of the things that really piqued my interest was that farmers are seeing 23% less income than they were before. And so, if you were thinking of profits, over the years, and in your own industry or even in the farm industry, a 23% cut is a massive difference in your budget and your income and your ability to afford things. And so, um, I think that having that is going to really devastate farmers if something does not get done soon. Um, as far as one example of prices going haywire would be corn seed. Corn seed has gone up tremendously. It's now over $300 a bag, which used to, on average, it was around $150 a bag. And so, just over the past few years, it's just risen tremendously. And so I know we're spending over $300 a bag, and that's with a hefty discount because we'll buy all our seed from one vendor. But that's just one portion of the uh, ag area. Fertilizer too has also risen tremendously and has stayed at a very high rate as far as having lower prices on corn. It has dramatically affected our profits too as well. And so it's it's kind of high tides in farming right now. And this brings me to my next topic. Is the agriculture industry in a recession? I would argue that we are. I would say that all of the factors that have been taking place over the past few years, which have caused a dramatic decrease in income to farmers, some say as much as 25% or 23%, I would say that that has caused such a dramatic effect on all of the ag economy that we are in pretty dire times. Um, there are a bunch of economists that say that we aren't. And one of their main reasons is that land prices are still just outrageous to me. So if you're a seller, absolutely, this is the best time to sell. If you're a buyer, this is a horrible time to buy. Unless you have land already that has already been paid for and have, the financial means, then you are okay during this time period, because you can take the hit and the losses that farmers are currently taking. And I know me and a lot of other farmers are saying that this next year just does not pencil in. It does not make sense financially this next year because prices do not look like they're going to return to a better price. It kind of looks like everything is still going to stay high because of the way the world is working right now with war and with trade and so many other factors that are causing prices to be just tremendous. And so I don't see how they say that farming is not in a recession. I really don't think that just land values alone really keep us from being in a recession, except people who have bigger pockets or who have been very frugal and are able to weather what is to come. And so I would say that this economy looks a lot like 2014 and 2015. And so whenever one of the largest agriculture sellers in the nation says to make sure that you don't overspend and that you tighten your belts, I would say that it's we're we're about to face a pretty big storm in the ag industry, and a lot of people think that it's leading to the end of the ag industry, and I really don't think so. I think this is something that we've weathered before, that we'll weather again, because you have to. Um, but things to watch for next year would be a lot of the production out of South America. South America is one of our main competitors, and with the way the weather is going to be shaping this next year, um, I I really think that we're going to be in another rough year. And according to the Farmer's Almanac, it's looks like it's going to be hot and dry through most of America, and it looks like we're going into a neutral point as opposed to staying in La Nina and staying wet and having below average temperatures. I think we're going to stay neutral, and it's going to be hot and dry, and it has been that way all December long. We've been hotter than average, and so also another thing to be looking at would be the interest rates, of course, seeing how they are affected this year, watching the Fed and really trying to find ways to bring in some passive income. That's what I would advise farmers to do, is to find something where you can bring in some passive income, and that is a pretty difficult situation. And real estate would be one good way into bringing in passive income. Um, I think that the 2025 the commodity prices are just they're not looking good. And my final take on what to look for would be legislation that's getting passed through this next year, and to see if Congress works toward a resolution that will be better for farmers in the current markets that we are facing and in the current conditions of inputs and their prices. And so it's going to be my guess is it's going to be a wild ride this next year, and manage your cash and hope you don't get hit by bad luck. And that's pretty much a lot of farming this next year. And so hold on tight, or hold on to your butts.